we now have Tax Reform Act 2025. Indeed, the implementation will start from January 1st, which is what Mr. Taiwo really spoke about there. It's not, you can write beautiful laws, but if it's not properly implemented, it becomes useless to the society and, of course, the economy at large. Let's quickly look at the bills. There are about 4 bills. The first is Nigeria Tax Bill. We have the Nigeria Tax Administration Bills, the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill. So we now have instead of Federal Inland Revenue Service, now we now have Nigeria Nigeria Revenue Service, and of course the fourth one, the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill as well. Let's bring this conversation now into perspective. Now I'm being joined from London by the President, CEO of Rock Global Investment Network Limited, Dr. Sam Omale. He's also a trainer and consultant based in London. Good morning, Dr. Sam Omale.
Good morning, Yusuf, for having me. Thank you for having me, Yusuf.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
I'm sure you listened to Mr. Taiwo Yedele there explaining, the details of that bill there. What is your immediate reaction to that?
First of all, I was very impressed by his presentation. And I've followed him throughout the process of this law being put together. And he's been so professional. He has been so confident and transparent in the way of presenting. I think this is one of the best policy issues, policy documents that Nigeria has ever produced in my lifetime. And I like the fact that he said the president gave them the free hand to do what they want to do and not to just bring something and take photos. This man must be encouraged to see his baby, this is his baby, go through, because this bill, the process it went, the engagement it endangered from all the 6 political zones of this country, the House of Assembly, the Senate, the governor that were involved. I watched through the whole process, and this has to be one of the most transparent bills that has ever been passed in Nigerian history.
Indeed, a very good one there. One of the best bill. Many of them have said it's going to be a new era for Nigerian economy. Some call it game changer as well. Give us your holistic overview of this bill. In build up to this, to what we have today. If you look at the process, there were a lot of controversies. There were a lot of back and forths. A lot of maybe the lack of understanding of the bill itself by some key stakeholders. Give us an overview of what you think will happen as we begin the implementation by January. They have 6 months to begin to do that.
Yeah, first of all, the tax system that we have had has been outdated. It has been inefficient, and the Nigerian tax to GDP ratio is just over 10%, which is far below even some African averages, which is about 16 to 18%. So Tinubu's administration's effort is to grow the ratio at least to that kind of thing. I'm a man of figures. It will grow it to about 50% by next year, without raising taxes on basic goods, or even overburdening struggling citizens. So by simplifying these tax rules, because this is a very simplified tax rule, it's going to encourage voluntary compliance. Sometimes you want to pay your tax, is the rigors, the rigor that you have to go through, is so tedious anywhere in the world. But by this simplification, officials hope to will be able to raise more money for funding for infrastructure and public goods. So what are the objectives of this bill? Number one is to, like I said, simplify revenue collection. It's easy. It will reduce the tax burden on some individuals and businesses, while also helping, to raise much needed government income revenue by making collection very efficient and simple. So it will protect households and support workers expanding their disposable income. So the implementation is going to be smooth, because if this guy, if this chairman, this guy is still in charge, he has a way of connecting the republic, and you give it to him. If they let him, he has the capacity to convince people, and they'll accept. If you remember, all that he set out to do, nothing was changed. With all the hullabaloo that was created, when the people got to understand, when they explained to them, they accepted it. So the problem with Nigeria is that informations are not transparent enough. We don't explain, don't give answers. As long as they keep answering questions, this bill will go smooth. And I want to mark this one as one of the ways I'm going to mark this government.
One of the ways to mark this government there. Let's look at the benefit of this bill to subnationals, talking about the states and, of course, the local government. If you see the explanation there as well, the federal government is to cede 5% of VAT revenue to states, of course, which is a very good one. Transfer of income from electronic money transfer now levy will now be exclusively to states. Dr. Omale, what would this do to state government revenue? Are they going to earn more money from, from tax?
Sure. I mean, definitely. I mean, this is a way of empowering the subnationals with some extra cash, apart from the one they get from the FAC. It will definitely give them. Remember that in arriving at this, some other states have been deprived, their VAT have been reduced. You see, this bill is like a balancing act, and and definitely it will increase the revenue of some states.
Indeed, it will increase the revenue of some states. Let's say the bill also repealed. There was a stamp duty law, so this bill now has repealed that as well. What do you think will also happen? I mean, are there going to be more like a reenactment of the simplified law now to enhance the revenue for states?
Yeah. I mean, like you read, the stamp duty or duty have been repealed, but it's going to be replaced by a simplified version. And this, you see, is the complication that has caused all these problems. So if this becomes simplified, I mean, anybody can just read it and understand it. It will bring more revenue. So yes, it's been repealed, but it's going to be reenacted in a simplified way, and that will, of course, enhance revenue collection by the states, by the subnationals.
Indeed, by subnational. There is also a very critical point here that I think you should speak to. They said there's going to be more equitable model for VAT attribution and distribution. Does it mean, is it like, what I'm trying to say, if you are a state now and you collect revenue within your domain, are you going to base your collection or base whatever you're going to keep within your expenditure to what you collect? In essence, states that earn more revenue, earn more VAT, are they going to earn more revenue in this case?
Not exactly. You see, the operative word there is equitable.
Absolutely.
Why is it equitable to get all the resources that you have within your domain? Is it equitable that other sections that don't have factories or have businesses to languish in poverty in the same country? So what that law is saying, at my understanding, is that states like Lagos, Rivers, or that have big corporations and businesses in their place will earn. And even if you reduce some of their VAT earning by 2-3-5%, it will not harm them. That reduction will be taken to other states. I think that's what they mean by equitable. Equitable means let's behave as if we're in the same house. Let's have benefit. If my brother is doing better, I should also take some crumbs from his table.
So it shouldn't be like a motivation for
we're not take it out.
When a state like Lagos will have to earn revenue and, of course, now share part of their own taxes to other states, is that equity?
Yeah, it's equity because who built Lagos? I mean, Lagos, Port Harcourt are not, they're not built by the states. They're built by the federal government. The seaports, the international airports, all that, everything that's bringing business in Lagos State is federal government owned. The businesses that are in Port Harcourt, that are in rivers, are there on account of the oil. Who owns the oil exploration and all that? It's federal government. So federal government is the father of all the states. So the fact that it's located in your area does not mean that you own it. They don't. How many state government funded corporations, or do they have in Lagos State, in River State? They're all building, leveraging on the federal government establishment in those states. That's why Lagos, for example, will be fighting that Cross River or Akwa Ibom will not have another seaport. We need 2-3 more seaports around the country. You see, so why are they blocking rivers or cross rivers from having a seaport? There's so much concentration of why Dangote refinery in Lagos? Why not in rivers? Do they have crude oil in Lagos? So some of these things is equitable, because the fact that it's located in your domain does not mean that it couldn't have been located somewhere else. And so it's more common sense that all that you earn in your domain, that don't belong to you.
Indeed, I think that's fair enough. Let's look at the benefit for businesses and, of course, investment, which I think is very key there. One key point here is the option to pay tax and levy on foreign currency denominated transactions in Naira. Instead of looking for dollar to pay, you now have to pay in the local currency.
Well, number one, I'm not sure whether you know my views about currency in Nigeria. In the first place, we should not be mentioning anything foreign currency in Nigeria. No country transacts business, local business, payment system in a foreign currency. None. It's an abnormality, and that's why we put ourselves in this problem. You cannot be in Nigeria and thinking in dollars and pounds and euros. In the UK, nobody knows dollar, nobody knows euro. It's pound. In America, nobody knows the pound, nobody knows yen is the dollar. And let me tell you how it works. If you bring in Naira here, or you bring dollar here to put in your account, your dollar account, that dollar will be exchanged into pound first, and exchanged back into dollar before they put it to your account. By that time, the government has earned several commissions on both sides. Nigeria, you just carry raw cash and put it in your account. It doesn't happen. That's it. That's a different topic we'll talk later. So yes, we should not be paying. It's like the Dangote having to be paying for crude in dollars. How? Is dollar the national currency of Nigeria? So the way to empower, to make our dollar, our currency strong, is to transact business in the dollar, and I may add, in the dollar into kobo. We should be. Our pricing system is so bad. That's why we're all running to. Anyway. It's a different. It's a ball game of that topic is something we'll talk about maybe some other day. That our currency management should be different from what it is now. Yes, that not even is an incentive. It's a right. They should be transacting things in Naira. Government, the official rate of Naira to dollar to another is already established. We know it now. So even if we calculate it in dollar, we're going to give you the Naira account instead of going to buy dollar and bring it to you. We don't do this. All our pricing system in Nigeria should be in Naira terms. Everybody should take that in place. I hear of places in Nigeria where school fees are paid in foreign currency. That's an abnormality. Where rents are paid in, that's an abnormality. It's pure third world mentality and inferiority complex we put on ourselves. Some of these problems we have are self-inflicted wounds. We should not be transacting business in any foreign currency apart from the Naira.
Indeed, we should not be transacting in any foreign currency apart from the Naira, which is indeed a very good one. And of course, that will strengthen the value of Naira as well. Let's also talk about this item here as well. Faster tax refund within 90 days. Of course, 30 days for VAT refund with the option of set off against any tax liability of the taxpayer. My concern initially is many revenue collection agencies like the Nigeria Customs, NUPRC, and so many of them now will now relinquish that duty to the Nigeria Revenue Service now being established now by this new act now. What do you think is going to be the implication? In terms of accelerating tax revenue, do you think the new leaving this duty to Nigeria Revenue Service alone is not going to be too burdensome on them?
No, see, the process is there. The process is automated these days, but everything is based on technology these days, and it's automated. So it's not like you be carrying files and looking for this dollar, go bank, everything should be automated. And one guy can be in charge of this when they load. One guy, one person with technology in front of him is able to make reform faster. And I mean, it's not a problem at all. It shouldn't be. We're in the age of machine learning, we're in the age of AI, we're in the age of technology-driven business transactions. So a faster tax reform is possible within 90 days or 30 days for VAT. And if the person is owing any tax liability, you can tell them, okay, offset my tax liability with that amount. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine.
Indeed.
That's fine.
Indeed, the implementation is what to look out for. Let's look at the benefit for small businesses, which I think is very, very key. Small businesses control in terms of the economy, in terms of employment, they employ more compared to the bigger corporation. And of course, there's one very important point here: outlaw cash payment and physical roadblocks imposing burden on businesses, which is going to be outlawed according to these new acts now. Given the kind of system that we have, what, like Mr. Oyedele said, implementation is key. And you know, are we going to get to a point where we now have to set up a task force now to monitor the implementation, especially at the local level?
You see, all these task forces and extra bodies are expensive and a distraction and a diversionary. This guy here, this chairman here, and the new body, they have officers across the country. In all the state governments, and in all the state governments, at least I know, they have big offices. There should not be any other extra thing. It's part of their job schedule. Their job schedule should be redrawn and said, this is included in your job schedule, and go ahead with it. Implementation is going to be so the boards, the managers, the new body, one of the way we measure them at the end of the year, performance evaluation, is how effective have they implemented this new regime. Period. And it's a matter of transmitting it to their staff. Make their job schedule different. The job schedule of this officer is this, is this, is this. Extend to them, not extra body. Extra body is all these bureaucratic and more expensive ways of doing things. Government is shrinking. We don't need too many bodies around. We need very few but efficient, agile organizations that can bring about more revenue collection.
Indeed. Let's look at the benefit for homes and individual, which is also very key here. There's exemption of stamp duties on rent below 10 million naira. Are you looking at a way whereby we're not having a more like pay as you earn kind of tax now? The rich will have to pay more, while of course those at the lower ladder will have to pay less taxes in this regard now. What do you make of this? This point, especially exemption of duties on rent below 10 million naira. Who are those paying rent above 10 million naira? Probably those who are, the bigger earners in the economy.
Look, apart from that, there are so many other aspects of this bill that is of benefit to the poor people. In fact, what comes to my mind is like when I was campaigning, I was saying that there's a minimum amount you earn for you to pay tax. Therefore, all these people harassing people on motor parks and towns should be out of that place. Anybody harassing these women that make a car on the road, full stop, they're not going to pay anything. So many people, if you don't earn more than 800 it's something $1,000 naira per a month, you don't pay anything. So this zero VAT on food, healthcare, education, and city generation is very important, and it will help the poor. Now they'll have some money. See what happens. They will now have the peace of mind to increase their earnings, and as their earning increases, therefore they transfer into the tax-paying regime, and the government to earn more money. Yeah, so it is very advantageous to the individuals and homes.
Indeed. Before we move on and look at the next topic with regards to running two budgets concurrently, let's me get your take with regards to the complete exemption of low-income earners up to 1 million per annum. That is about 83K per month. That is for those earning below 1 million naira a year, exempted from this tax as well. If you look at the way the economy is currently structured, what are the percentages of people earning below this amount of money?
I think it's huge. If you know that the minimum wage is 70,000, yes. So these are a lot of percentage. It should be getting to 40% or 50% of the population of Nigeria. The house helps, the clerks, and all these guys, anybody earning, and the minimum wage for crying out loud is 70,000. So, and some state governments have not been able to even pay the 30,000, which was sometime last year. Not all states have even implemented it. Now it's 70. So this 83,000 is very important. And the percentage is not what we're talking about, but a lot of people will be relieved because they will earn their gross, whatever they pay, they just pay it's in their pocket. This will give extra money for a better life in Nigeria.
Indeed.
But I guess about 40 to 50% of the population.
All right. Let's move on now. I look at another topic now. National Assembly extending implementation of 2024 budget to 31st December 2025. What that means is that we now have two budgets running concurrently. Let me get your view. How do you receive that kind of information? Is it the right thing to do, given our current economic situation?
Running multiple budgets concurrently is a sign of weakness, period. It's a sign of unrealistic planning and expectations, and it's a sign of weakness. Countries very few countries that engage in that just show that they were not serious in the planning stage and also in the execution case. So it's not a good thing because there's a lot of confusion involved in it. We are going to be running four budgets concurrently. Now, how do you account? I mean, how do you even follow up the performance of each of these ones? Because budget has two components. And the major one that we're now looking at is the revenue side, which should determine the expenditure side. But because on the expenditure side, we have the concurrent and the capital, and under the capital you have health and all those segments. See, budgeting is a fundamental, it's like a business plan of a business company. Is a promise, and it's what I call it now. It's like a manifesto of what you want to achieve. So budget tells you what you want to achieve, where you're going to get money to do it, and it's between normally a period. Now, once this period is shifted and overlapping, you are in utter confusion, and it's not a good thing at all. And it also shows economic crisis and political crisis. That's it.
Indeed, it's not a good thing at all. And I was trying to, drawing comparison now. Countries that have actually done this before, a country like Afghanistan, and of course, we've also a country like Zimbabwe, who have implemented budget concurrently at this time. And these are countries that are historically, in deep crisis. Is Nigeria at that point? I mean, if you look at the excuses that the government is giving, they're talking about lack of resources. And this is the government that is saying that it's saving so much money from subsidy. Where are all the resources being channeled to? Are they being channeled into some elephant project that is not having direct impact on the livelihoods of the people?
Well, if you compare those to Afghanistan, you now say, what happened in Afghanistan? The Taliban were fighting a religious war. They brought hardship. They attracted America to them. A lot of civil war going on. The economy is in tatters. You go to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe had an economy that was battered. Inflation went into the thousands, and they had to use the dollar for their currency. It was in a bad shape because because the white farmers left and all kind of crises happened. The Nigeria is combined this. Nigeria is even in a worse situation. If you know that within these 2 years, over 15 or something thousand people have been killed. 20 have been killed, and we're not in civil war. We're not in war. 3 weeks ago, 200 in one spot, and every day we hear of these killings. It shows the country is at war with itself. Then the kind of politics that is played in Nigeria. You see, where you see people on television, gatherings, and it's all about politics. It's about politics. That's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for financial crisis. Because all the noise making is about personal aggrandizement. So politics has taken over in Nigeria, and governance have been pushed to the background. That's why we're in this confusion. So you see, there are so many terms that have come into Nigerian lexicon that have never existed when I was growing up. A new lexicon in Nigerian economics is padding. It doesn't make sense. You know, padding, maybe you're too young. When padding came, shoulder pad by women, so it was a fashion by women. They have used shoulder pads for their jackets.
Absolutely.
Now, Nigeria has brought in this colorful but very corrupt words into a lexicon, into an economic lexicon. And so that's the kind of confusion that is coming in and is making us to be the way we work. In politics, you want to please some people, you want to buy cars for the legislators, you want to make their life, so you are bound to enter into this kind of trouble. So yes, so Nigeria equates, in fact, it's in a worse situation than this country that I mentioned, because we're larger and we have more problems added to the crimes and the insecurity and the corruption that is biting Nigeria. That's where we're in this way. There's no transparency. There's no
accountability,
performance evaluation of our budgets over the years. Not just now, over the years. Because statistics show that if the budget have been brought out over the years, if 10% of it have been
implemented,
Nigeria will be greater than UK.
Absolutely.
So you see that,
all right, Doctor.
Yeah, everything here is about the person. The individuals are getting richer, the country is getting poorer.
And the people,
and the riches they get is taken away from that country. So we need a more radical way of managing our affairs, that we have to stop these multiple budgets within a year. It's a sign of inadequacy. It's a sign of poor budget management.
It's a sign of poor budget management. But, Doc, in the midst of all of this, government is giving himself pass mark. The president, while speaking in Nasarawa State, did say that his government is doing so very well. And that is, very soon or thereabout, the people begin to feel the impact. And I got this quote from Dudley Sear in 1969. He did say that real national development is when there's elimination or reduction in poverty, unemployment, and of course, inequality. Do you think we're having that now in our current system for the government to begin to give itself a pass mark where, that judgment should have been left to the people of Nigeria?
You see, that's what I'm talking about. The politics in Nigeria, it's all about talks. When you say you are doing very well, what are the measurements? Just like you put it now, economic development is clear. It's measured on your GDP. It's measured about the welfare of the people. Measured about the health of the people, about the longevity of the people, the disposable income in the pockets of the people. But you see in Nigeria where over 60 to 70% are in poverty, and many more are entering into poverty every day. And they say you are doing well. What does it mean? What does doing well mean? If they don't know what doing well means, is this: number one, doing well means that there is road infrastructure, there's energy infrastructure, there's health care for everybody. School in Abuja, there where you are in dilapidated forms. Children are learning under rain, under uncompleted buildings. staff are on strike in the Federal Capital Territory. So it's very preposterous for us to be saying that the government doing well. And it's not for the government to be saying it. It's the people that will say it. And he who feels it knows it. And it's not all well in Nigeria. So they should wait until whatever implementation or whatever policy they want to implement begin to materialize, begin to bring results. Then it will be clear for everyone to see. You see the smiles of people's faces on the street. You see people entering clean transport. You see people having access to water. People having electricity for whatever they want to do. And there's disposable income in their pocket. Food inflation will come down. And the general health over the place is by the way, the function of government is when these killings and insecurity is gone, reduced or gone. That's why we start thinking that Nigeria is doing very well. Every government has to leave a legacy. What will you be remembered for? You inherited a very bad economy, very chaotic, troubled Nigeria. What have you done to it? Have you exacerbated it or have you reduced it?
All right.
That's the question.
All right, Doc, before we go now, it's looking like government is contradicting itself. Only a few days ago, or about a week, last week or thereabout, there was a national security meeting where the NSA and, of course, the Chief of Defense Staff did say that poverty and hunger is now a national security problem. That if it's not addressed, it's going to create more chaos and more problem for the country. They have, a link the issue we are facing in terms of insecurity we are facing to the lack of good governance, the lack of dividends of democracy to the people. And here we are, at the same time, government is calling itself. What do you make of this contradiction between the same government?
Yeah, the whole of Nigeria is a contradiction. Of course, everything about Nigeria is contradictory. We import what we have and we export what we don't have. So I don't. Everything in Nigeria is contradictory. They'll be saying something and they mean the same thing. The military or the security forces that are talking, the budget they give to them. Their budget is in the billions. What are they doing with the budget? Now, if you cannot maintain internal security, internal squabbles, if you cannot defend us against ragtag, ill-trained, ill-equipped criminals in the whole of Nigeria, what are the military doing? Where is Tashi crew and all this? Is it when they wear this, their uniform and going about the place? I'm ashamed. So they should not be telling us the causes of anything. They should be telling us how they're dealing with it. So the military, whatever the security forces have failed in their duty. That in a state like Niger, in the middle of Nigeria, no borders with any foreign country, that scores of Nigerian military will be killed, people will be killed, and nobody is arrested. State like Benue State, that is in the middle of Nigeria. Things will happen, and people on motorbikes will disappear, and none of them is arrested. And they're telling us, we know the consequence, we know what is causing our problem. We want to know solution. And solution that these guys should at least go and put that, because they cannot fight any modern warfare. Nigerian government cannot fight even Cameroon, the gendarmes, who cannot fight them. So we don't hope to have any foreign aggression because we have no capacity to do that. Let's concentrate on internal security. And they should not be telling us, contrary to that this is the cause. So we know that we're in trouble, and it's not a justification. Poverty is not a justification for you to be engaged in act of criminality. If you are poor, you work. That's why we all work. If I'm looking for more money, I go to work. I go to look for business. I move about to look for business. That's how I get money. I don't go steal other people or kill to take money. No, you go to make money, and there's money to be made in Nigeria in any way you want to see it. So they should be making the environment good for us, so that people can be engaged in profitable business and not in act of criminality.
All right, Doc. Quite a whole lot to talk about, but time is always not our friend. We want to thank you so much, Dr. Sam Omale, President, CEO, Rogue Global Investment Network Limited in London. And of course, Dr. Omale is a trainer and consultant based in London, United Kingdom. Thank you so much for speaking to us on Business Daily today. We appreciate your contributions.
Thank you for having me. God bless you.
All right, thank you.
And God bless Nigeria.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof. Doc. With that, to wrap on the show today, we'll be back again on Monday. I am Yusuf Akogu.